Welcome to part 1 of my 4-part Harry Potter UK adventures. We are starting off really strong in Edinburgh, Scotland, which is kind of the birthplace of Harry Potter and also just one of the most breathtaking cities in the UK. If you're new here, hi, I'm Louisa. I am just your average Disney and Harry Potter obsessed mom of 2. I'm a former Orlando local, and I love sharing theme park tips, magical travel experiences, and life from my cozy Harry Potter office. In this video, I'm going to share our whole itinerary, and I'm going to share the 5 things you need to do if you're doing your own Harry Potter tour of Scotland, as well as the mistakes we made along the way so that you don't make them too. Let's start with stop number 1 on our journey, Victoria Street. It's a whimsical little side street in Edinburgh with colorful storefronts and cobblestones, and it's believed by many to be the original inspiration for Diagon Alley. But here's the catch, it's not. Back in 2022, JK Rowling tweeted that she hadn't even seen Victoria Street until after she'd already written about Diagon Alley. But still, don't let the muggles get you down, there's plenty of magic to enjoy here. In about the center of the street is the Elephant House Café, which proudly celebrates its Harry Potter heritage and has become a must-visit location for fans. The location on Victoria Street is a reconstruction of their original cafe, which was devastated by a fire in 2021. This new spot features a clever takeaway window under the stairs and serves drinks and sandwiches, many with a distinct wizarding twist. Inside, they've recreated a desk setup said to be the very table where Rowling once wrote. It was salvaged and restored from the fire. The iconic view has been recreated too, and there's a guest book you can sign along with a plaque. Take note of the word birthplace in quotes. It's a bit of a liberty since Rowling said she began writing the books in her flat in London. That said, she did move to Edinburgh soon after, and she's confirmed that she wrote in this cafe, among others. If you're not bothered by the muddle history, and I'm not, this is a dreamy place to enjoy a coffee and some people watching. The butterbeer looked lovely in photos, but I'll be honest, it didn't quite live up to the taste I imagined. From what I could tell, you could hardly throw a stone in the UK without hitting a shop selling Harry Potter collectibles. One notable stop is Museum Context, a 3-story treasure trove of books, stationery, collectibles, vintage items, artwork, you name it. Don't miss the basilisk on the 3rd floor. A 10-minute walk from Victoria Street will bring you to the House of MinaLima, one of only 5 locations in the world tied to the graphic design duo behind the Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts films. Inside, you'll find illustrated editions of the first 3 books, framed artwork, and reimaginings of other classic stories. It's a must for any fan of magical design. Another short walk from Victoria Street brings you to Greyfriars Kirkyard. Kirkyard is the Scottish term for cemetery. It's a beautiful and historic place if you're into that sort of thing, and I am, and it's become a popular spot for Potter fans because of the names you'll find on the gravestones. Here's what I know. I couldn't find any instance where JK Rowling confirmed that she visited the cemetery or was directly inspired by it. What I did find was a response that she gave in a 1997 chat room interview with Barnes & Noble. When asked how she chose names for her characters and places, she said she collects names from saints, war memorials, gravestones, and other sources. So, to quote Albus Dumbledore, from this point forth, the firm foundation of fact will be left behind and a journey through the murky marshes of memory into thickets of wildest guesswork will begin. If you wander through the Kirkyard, you'll come across some very familiar names: Moody, Scrimgeour, McGonagall, Potter, and most famously, a grave for Thomas Riddle. In that same interview, Rowling said she got the name Potter from childhood friend. I'm not much for math, so I asked ChatGPT, based on how rare these names are, what are the odds that JK Rowling didn't take them from this graveyard? The verdict? Practically zero. When you've got names like Riddle, McGonagall, Scrimgeour, and Moody all showing up with a few paces of each other and then again in the pages of Harry Potter, let's just say it's probably not a coincidence. Whether it was intentional or subconscious, the graveyard definitely left its mark. Going back to Victoria Street, you'll notice a queue forming for museum context around midday. It's a good idea to visit earlier in the day if you want to avoid the crowds. We also visited Edinburgh Castle just because it's iconic. If you're traveling in the summer or during holidays, be sure to buy your tickets in advance, they do sell out. Our biggest mistake in Edinburgh? Only giving ourselves one full day for sightseeing. There are so many Potter-related spots to explore here. Some confirmed, some just fan lore. For example, there's a common rumor that George Heriot's school inspired the Hogwarts house system and architecture, but Rowling again says no. What is confirmed is that she finished the final Harry Potter book at the posh Balmoral Hotel. And yes, if you have the galleons, you can book the same exact suite where she wrote. For our next adventure, we rented a car on Turo and drove the 3.5 hours north from Edinburgh to the Scottish Highlands to ride the iconic Jacobite train, better known to the Harry Potter fans as the real-life Hogwarts Express. Luckily, my husband was game to drive on the wrong side of what felt like very narrow roads, but honestly, the scenery made it all worth it. We left Edinburgh at 5 a.m. to arrive early at the Glenfinnan Viaduct, the famous bridge the Hogwarts Express crosses in the films. In summer, the parking lot fills up fast, so getting there early is key. We arrived in plenty of time and headed down to the lake just past the visitor center. Standing at the water's edge, it's easy to imagine Hogwarts just beyond the misty hills. It was the perfect photo spot. There's a small gift shop and a coffee stand that opens at 9:30, so we grabbed some caffeine and hiked up to the Glenfinnan viewpoint. It's about a 20-minute walk, a bit rocky towards the end, but I managed it in heeled clogs just fine. We read that there'd be midges and mud, but we lucked out on both fronts. Many who came before us did recommend face nets, so just bear that in mind. If you visit in the summer like us, getting a good viewing spot was everything for us. We found a place with a clear line of sight so no one would be in front of us for photos. Then we joined the about 100 of our new best friends to wait for the train. The morning train usually crosses the viaduct between 10:45 and 11 a.m. Ours was slightly delayed. We had practiced the shots we wanted, assuming the train would glide by slowly, but no, it zipped across the viaduct so fast we barely captured one decent video before it was gone. If photos or videos are a priority, I recommend staying overnight in Fort William and watching the train go by more than once. But if this is your one and done moment, just soak it in and enjoy. I know I wish I would have. Afterwards, we drove 25 minutes back to Fort William to catch our ride on the train itself. There's a little shop at the station selling Harry Potter merch because, of course, there is. Once you're allowed on the platform, head to the front of the train for photos. You'll have about 10 to 15 minutes to snap pics and take turns with others. Just keep getting back in line. The full journey takes about 6 hours round trip. 2 hours to get to Milag, 2 hours to explore the town, and 2 hours back. We splurged for first class about $142 USD per person, which got us slightly cushier seats and one complimentary tea, coffee, or water each way. Honestly, it probably wasn't worth the upgrade for us. When you're on the train, if you're facing the conductor, on the left side, you'll have the best view of the viaduct on the way to Milag, and Dumbledore's grave on the way back. If you're on the right, you'll see the reverse. Either way, you'll catch both views during your journey. We brought Harry Potter props and outfits for fun and photos, but I want to offer just a small word of caution. From the moment we arrived, it felt like we were being closely watched by the staff, possibly because we were dressed as fans. One train attendant in particular seemed intent on catching us doing something wrong, even though we were trying to follow all the rules. When we passed the spot where Dumbledore's grave appears, which you see for about 30 seconds, my husband stood up to film this quick clip. We weren't blocking anyone, but the attendant rushed in to scold us, saying we were in the way of the trolley. It was unnecessary and honestly a little bit disheartening. I just want to be really clear and honest that we were not trying to push any boundaries or do anything to get any kind of content that would not be allowed. All of us would never even post something that was against the rules of the train. There was an announcement as we crossed over the viaduct that there was no photos to be taken in the vestibules, and that's where the windows open the most if you're not in one of those big compartments. And that made total sense because I was well aware that there had been rule breaking and people hanging out the windows, and that it caused a lot of problems for the train. What I did do that I had no idea was against the rules was take this photo when we were stopped in the station, and the train attendant was very angry and said that I was being cheeky and what did I not understand about no photo in the vestibules, and I just very simply understood that it was while the train was in motion. I am not sharing this to be negative, just to set expectations, especially if you're showing up in full Wizarding World gear. Just be prepared, you may attract extra scrutiny. Malag is a fishing village and port town and the gateway to the Isle of Skye. You have 2 hours here to eat and explore while the train turns around and prepares for the return journey. We made sure to get fresh fish and chips here and of course, do a little shopping. There are a number of magical shops here, like this one that was filled with all manner of collectibles and merch, but maybe the best find of this part of the trip was this retired Hagrid's lantern that Corey spotted in an ice cream shop that also seemed to inexplicably carry the whole Noble Collection line. On the drive back, the landscape was stunning. We were loving those late summer sunsets. It stayed light until almost 10 p.m. in Scotland. So even after getting off the train around 7, we still had hours of golden light to explore the Highlands by car on a different route home. It was one of our favorite drives of the trip. Back in Edinburgh, we stayed at the Virgin Hotel and it was conveniently located on Victoria Street. It made the perfect home base during our way too short stay. In the next video, I'm going to take you with me to Laycock Abbey, where there are over 6 different Harry Potter filming locations from both the Harry Potter films and Fantastic Beasts. If you haven't already, I'd love if you subscribe and join me on my magical adventures. I'm so glad you're here and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.